that would be
Cool.
great. There's Nabila. Here she
Hi.
is.
Hi.
So this is Deidre. This is my business mentor for, she was my mentor for 2 years. And she helped me create SoundQuest Academy. And it's done incredibly well. And this month is all about creating multiple income streams in your business.
Mhm.
And so, one of the best ways that I've found so far in terms of creating different layers of income in my business beyond, what I consider the bedrock of my business has been the in-person sound bath events, right? And
Mhm.
also, private and bespoke experiences that I offer has been going online and teaching other people my expertise, right? I found something that I became professional at. I consider myself a pro in the sound healing world. So that's what I teach in my academy, SoundQuest Academy. And so this has been awesome adventure, like learning how to be in like a different role in terms of leadership. And I've learned so much about sales and how to sell from the heart and how to not be salesy, but how to like find what people need and see how I can support them and invite them into my programs. So this is Deidre, and I guess I'll just let you take the floor and show Nabila what you do and
Amazing.
how creating an online side of your business can be so impactful and powerful.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say, Mike, thanks so much for having me. It's so cool to see everything that you've created over the past 2 years. So we worked together for about 2 years, and when I first started working with Mike, he was like doing a bunch of events, super successful at what he was doing, which is what he's been teaching you in this mastermind. And I was really impressed because in order to build a sound healing business, the way he has, it took a lot of courage, consistency, showing up when maybe he didn't want to or didn't know how many people would show up to class, and being consistent with that. And then what happened in his business, which is amazing, which is your goal, is to be so busy that you're like, well, maybe I want to create more time and location freedom now, as the next step. Or at the same time, you can, as you're building your sound business, and it sounds like you do dance and movement and ecstatic. I love ecstatic dance, by the way. I
Oh, good.
remember the first time I've lived in Bali a few times. I've spent so much time there. I went to an ecstatic dance class there once, and it was at the yoga barn, and
Yep.
it got a little wild actually.
Oh,
People were
yeah.
like basically naked, bumping and grinding. I
Yoga
was
barn, ecstatic dance, like next level, kind of a bit different. Yeah.
I've been I've been to like, more like Canadian and like other places as well, but I remember I was actually running a women's retreat in Bali, and this is when I first got into coaching, I don't know, like 7 years ago or something. And I brought the group there. I mean, I went there one night first, and but the night I brought the group is when it got really like grungy, and I was like, all right. And but we had a great time, and I
Yeah.
love aesthetic dance. I love movement. I used to be a performer and all that type of stuff. So cool. I love it because dance is like the embodiment of the things that we do, and we needed to ground it in reality. And so the cool thing about what you do is there's an opportunity to take it online and support people anywhere. So just to kind of start off, like, yeah, first of all, Mike's the man. Mike's done some really incredible things. Super proud of him. Also super proud of him as like a student of mine. He did the work, he showed up and made things happen, and it's grown his online business significantly. And it's so cool that you're running this program right now, and really dedicating and pouring all of your wisdom into whoever's here. And that's actually what it takes to become a leader in your space, is to show up and pour into whoever's showing up, because that is what actually qualifies people from being a leader to someone who constantly never succeeds. It's the people who show up no matter what. And I know in my business for years, in a lot of ways, it's like not huge numbers, but huge impact. And that huge impact has come back time and time again to accelerate opportunities for me. So I just want to do a big shout out to Mike. You're awesome. Thanks for having me. And okay, I'm going to do some teaching. And I'm going to share what works really well in the space that I teach in, and then we'll open it up for some Q&As. Does that work for you, Nabila?
Mm-hmm.
Did I say your
Yeah.
name right? Nabila? Nabila? Nabila?
Nabila. Nabila.
Okay. I did Nabila because I'm Italian. I'm like, Nabila.
Yeah.
So my Nana would say her name, Nabila. She'd call me Gigina. She couldn't even say my name right. She's like, Gigina. I know you're not Italian, but you have grandparents that are Italian. They turn everyone's name into an Italian name. She actually would call my brother, his name's Tyler, Tylenol.
Oh,
Tylenol. So hilarious.
cute.
So thank you for pronouncing your name properly. So let's talk a little bit about, online business. I think it scares a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. Like, it's, I think the reason it's a little bit intimidating is because there's so many people talking about marketing. Would you agree? Does that resonate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For a long time, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur now for 14 years. I had a wellness company. I own a yoga and wellness business for 8 years. And then I transitioned full time into coaching about 7 or 8 years ago. And a lot of people were like, I'm a marketer, I'm a marketer, I'm a marketer. And I'm like, what does that mean? Because there's so many different types of marketing. And one of my biggest frustrations with the business online space is that everyone's an expert. Everyone's a marketer, and everyone is telling you that their service is going to help you get your goal achieved, maybe when it's not the right fit for you. So the most important thing when you're growing your business online or you're looking to create multiple streams of income is to find one pathway, one mentor who's going to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. That's what you're doing right now with Mike. You're like, hey, he's been where I am, and he's going to take me to this finish line or this destination. He's going to teach me the things so that I can get here. And so I really love that, because when you invest in a mentor or someone specifically to take you on that destination, you know where you're going. Whereas if you're investing in all of these different courses or, flash things on the internet, you're going to end up confused, overwhelmed, not taking action, and things aren't going to connect. So what I love to do when teaching business and helping people scale online and get their work out there in a bigger way is to simplify it. Because there's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of people will tell you need this when you don't. And a lot of people are telling you, sell in the DMs, message a bunch of people, start a bunch of conversations that way. Some of those things, can be helpful depending on what you're doing, if you have a free offer, etc. But for me, it just never really resonated. There's a lot of marketing tactics that just didn't really resonate. I'll give you an example. There's this woman, and oh my gosh, like, bless her heart. She has messaged me probably 30 times on Instagram trying to sell me something. She's like, hey, I'm going to help grow your audience. And I can just see right through it. And I'm like, no, you're not going to grow my audience. I'm doing what I'm doing. My business is successful, all the things.
Yeah.
But she's messaged me about 20 times, and I'm literally said, thank you so much, I'm not interested. So what I'm trying to say is, you don't ever want to be that person. And you also don't want to be the person who doesn't try anything, but you also don't want to try tactics of selling people in DMs when you haven't built any kind of relationship with them either. I don't really teach those things. There are pieces that you can add into your business. So let's talk about marketing, okay? The number one thing with everything that you do is that you have kind of an umbrella of your business. So my umbrella of my business is Radically Aligned as my company name. Right now, I'm really focusing on an Awakening Her brand. I'm really focusing on helping women because I feel really called to help women. Sorry, Mike, but if you ever want to work with me again, you still can, just not in the Awakening Her Academy. Maybe there will be a men's part of the academy potentially in the relationship department, but I'm really feeling called to work with women. So we have these brands, we have these umbrellas that we build, and they stand for something. So Awakening Her is essentially about awakening a woman's power, right? It's about helping women step into their voice and also supporting them on stepping out of roles and ways that they show up that aren't serving them, that are causing them to self-sabotage, not feel great, not be in their power, all those things, right? But the main underlying piece here is to support women in waking up to who they are and who they're meant to be, sharing their voice, sharing their message, sharing their gifts, and creating a life on their terms versus what we've been programmed to think success or happiness looks like. I don't know about you, but I was in a relationship years ago. I got married at a very young age, and I got married early 20s. I was with him for 8 years, and it was a mentally, emotionally abusive relationship to the point where my body actually started to shut down. I lost a chunk of hair. I was diagnosed with 4 autoimmune diseases that the doctors couldn't help me with. I had chronic pain in my neck and shoulders to the point where my massage therapist actually fired me. She's like, I just can't help you anymore. Like, you got to stop coming because like this is something else.
Yeah.
And I was depressed to the point of literally wanting to end my life. And from the outside looking in, I looked like the happiest person everyone knew. And looked healthy. I was outgoing. I always had a smile on my face. I was like successful in my business, all the things in my wellness business. But on the inside, I literally had so much internal battle of, do I stay? Do I go? Who am I? Didn't know who I was because in the relationship, I couldn't be who I was meant to be because he was controlling and he was trying to squash me. And there was a pretty big age gap, 7 years. And when you're in your early 20s, 7 years is huge. So anyways, long story short, I had a wake up call when my soul told me that if I didn't listen to my soul, I was going to get cancer and die within a year. And so I did the inner work of really listening to the message of the soul, healing myself, and then stepping into my true authentic path, which is coaching, healing, awakening work, and all of that I do now. So I shared that story with you because, that's over 8 years ago. I was in that relationship and all of that. But in that past business, I was burnt out. It had a lot of external flash, right? I was on TV. I was featured in magazines. I was offered my own international clothing line with my name on it from a billionaire who has a clothing line. And I had all these opportunities, but it didn't feel like it was right. And it felt like I was playing small. Not to diminish people who teach yoga and wellness. I just felt like this was not what I was supposed to be living, but I was getting so much validation from it. So I had the courage to leave that relationship, start a new path. So Awakening Her is the embodiment of all of that as women, of the things that we go through, but specifically also with your impact, your purpose, your message. So with your brand, as you build it, because you do dance, you do movement, you do all this stuff and, sound healing, there is an underlying message, an umbrella that is going to call in and attract your people that are going to be like, whatever you sell, I want to be a part of it. A big part of my brand as well is embodied leadership, is going after your dreams, is making a bigger impact. And that's where Mike was like, oh, cool, I want to be a part of this. Like, this is amazing. That resonates, right? This new brand that I'm creating is very much more catered to the feminine. So as we build our brands and get out there, we want to know, what do I stand for? Why am I teaching this? What is this really all about? Is it just a sound healing class? Is it just a movement class? Is it just an ecstatic dance class? Or is there something deeper there about liberation, about self-expression, about healing, about awakening, about purpose, about joy? And so one of the foundational things that I do with all of my clients that has to do with marketing, that big word that for me for many years was, I didn't know what it really meant because there were all these gurus throwing stuff at me, is I help you understand what your core message is so that everything that you put out into the world, right? Whether that's on Instagram, on people's podcasts, a course, even how you run your classes, if you're doing, dance and music and however you, frame it that people are like, I'm a part of something bigger than just what we're doing here. And what that's going to do, whether you're doing in-person classes in that model that Mike's teaching you, or you're growing and expanding online through multiple streams of income, which I'll talk a little bit more about, is that you are going to stand out from everyone else in your industry because people are going to be like, this is the person that's helping me liberate my soul or whatever that thing is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So the first piece, and you can write some notes down, is what is the core message here? I shared my story around abusive relationship, got married like 23. Oh my gosh, so crazy. I'm like my mid 30s now. I'm like, damn, and I'm engaged, like for the second
Yeah.
time in my life, and I'm like, oh my gosh, feels like a lifetime ago, right? So I talk about the ways that I had to listen to my soul, get out of that relationship, step into my real purpose, right? And our purpose, what I love about purpose is it's always evolving, it's always changing. Sometimes the vehicle of our purpose changes. So for you, let's say that you're just doing sound healing, you're really called to that. The vehicle for your purpose might just be sound healing, or it could be coaching, or it could be online courses, or it could be speaking. It doesn't really matter. That's just the way that you deliver your purpose. So with visibility and marketing, marketing is actually the number it's the number one thing you want to focus on in your business. And the second thing you want to focus on your business outside of marketing yourself is taking care of your current clients. Okay? Showing up and being the best version of yourself when you work with people. Yeah? And then marketing, because marketing essentially helps with visibility. There are so many different types of marketing. There's cold DMs, there's reaching out to random people, there's having a YouTube channel, there's social media. And what I help people do that I found to be the most financially successful for the time I put in is actually mastering your signature talk. And you might be thinking right now, well, why do I need to have a talk? I teach classes and all this stuff. Well, when you have a talk, I think I'm going to sneeze. Just give me a sec here. And I sneeze in threes usually, so it might just be a minute. Okay. Might have passed. Okay, we'll see. So what I help people do that's different in the industry is I help you really master your message. So what is the umbrella? What does your business stand for? Who are you really serving? And yes, you do want to focus on one particular person that what they're going through. Like, so for example, I was sponsored by Lululemon for like 5 years when I was a yoga and wellness instructor and business owner. And I got to know the inner works of Lululemon very, very, very well. Okay. I also modeled for them. I did a lot of different things for them. They market to one person. Okay. And that one person for women, her name is Ocean. Okay. Her name is Ocean. I'm pretty sure it's Ocean. It's been years, but I think her name's Ocean. And there's a whole description of who she is, what she looks like, what she does, everything. That's why Lululemon, whether you love them or hate them, I'm wearing all Lululemon. Just got back from the gym. Is they've done a really good job of marketing to one person, but people who are not Ocean, that ideal person, love the brand. Why? Because they want to be like Ocean. They want to be like that woman. And because of it, whether you're a size 0 or a size, they go up to size 12, which is an issue. Some people don't like that, but you know what? They're marketing to Ocean. They're not marketing to everyone. When people put on Lululemon, I'm one step closer to being an Ocean, or I'm one step closer to being that inspirational person. Okay, they're a part of
Ocean is like their ideal client avatar, is what
yeah,
you're saying.
Mm.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Mhm. And I'm sure Sage has a very similar thing. I met the owner of Sage years ago, spent some time at his house in Whistler, and I'm sure it's similar, but I haven't had a direct conversation with him about that, so I don't know. But all of these brands, product or services, essentially people want to be a part of something. So my company is called Radically Aligned. It's for people who want to step into leadership roles in their life and business that are not willing to compromise when it comes to matters of the heart, who want to be in full integrity with the truth of who they are, right? So it calls a certain type of person and integrity to my brand, right? And you know what it does to other people who are not aligned with that? It repels them. People tend to either love me and like, I'm working with you, I don't even know exactly what you do sometimes, or they're like, oh, I'm going to stay away from that person. And that's a good thing to do with your brand. You don't have to be posting on the internet and being controversial unless that's part of your brand and you have stuff to say, right? But you want to stand for something so that people trust you. When you stand for nothing in a brand and you're trying to talk to everyone, which a lot of entrepreneurs make that mistake, and that's why a lot of entrepreneurs are broke and struggling, is you lose people. People don't trust you, and then you become generic, and then basically you become the sound healer. And this is I'm not trying to make fun of anyone. I'm just giving you an example that's working at the YMCA once a week, making $25 for the class and is broke, working a full-time job that you hate and wondering why you don't have a business. It's because you haven't niched, you haven't gone on who am I and who am I here for and what am I really creating beyond sound healing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like people, when they work with me, they know they're becoming the leader they're meant to be. Not necessarily because I say that, but because of how the integrity of my brand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Amazing. People, when they go and buy Sage wellness products, they know it's probably one of the best oils on the shelf that you can get. They think quality, right? Quality over quantity. People who want just a really good deal are going to get some essential oils from the dollar store that's messing up their hormones, and they don't care. They just want cheap. So you want to know who your clients are. So now when I talk about, so that's more about the umbrella, what you stand for, how people purchase and all of that. The next piece is the talk. So when I started working with Mike, and a lot of my clients, a lot of them are like, well, Dee, I don't really want to talk on stage. That's cool that you like to do that. I don't want to be in front of hundreds of people talking, and that's not for me. Cool. It doesn't have to be for you, or maybe that's something that you really want to do. But when you master your signature talk, okay, huge opportunities open up. Your signature talk consists of a story and some instructional pieces that are strategic around who you are, what you stand for. It builds trust with your prospective clients, and it gets people to want to be a part of what you're creating. And so how we use our talk, the signature talk, is we finesse it and we get you on podcasts, stages, and also self-hosting platforms where you're sharing your story and your talk and attracting your tribe. So that is a marketing asset, whether you're self-hosting it, which basically self-hosting just means that you are hosting it yourself, which could be like me inviting everyone to a talk I'm doing online, and then they show up to my Zoom room, right? That would be like a self-hosted versus a podcast. I'm on someone else's show, or I'm in someone else's community, or I'm on someone else's stage, right?
Would that be like also doing like an Instagram live or something?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's structured. The talk is structured in a way that converts, right? And you can do it on social media on Instagram, but the shelf life of that is very small.
Right.
It'd actually be more effective to host it on YouTube, or to have it on a sales page on your website, or to get people to opt in with their email address and watch you live. So when I teach this, how I teach it, and again, I'm going to share as much as I can with you during this time, but like Mike's taken a year to integrate this and then took another year of working with me. So it doesn't happen really, really quickly unless unless you're like, hey, I want to work with you for 3 months and implement all of this really quickly. I do that with clients, but I just want you to know that we're planting seeds today that will grow. And when you're ready to take those next steps, then we can have a conversation about it. So the best way to do it is to have you run your talk live many times until you become really good at it and you refine it. But the most important thing is that your talk is really good. So how I'm different than other people in my industry is that I've been on stages. I'm not going to say anyone's names because it doesn't really matter who they are. That we've been on the same stages, the same platforms, in front of the same audience, okay? Like ideal clients. And these people who are peers of mine who are not trained in what I teach have made zero sales from it. Whereas for me, I've made 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus $1,000 from 1 hour of speaking. And that's really significant in your business when you're like, hey, if I'm on a stage, once or twice a month or a platform, I know that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K is coming into my bank account, right? But how do we do that? We first have to master our talk so that we are gravitating and inviting people into what we do. So that's step one. That's what I teach as piece number one. Talking in front of people, visibility is good, but if it's not strategic, it's not effective. That's what I found a lot with my peers in the industry. And I have peers in my industry who are getting similar opportunities to me that are struggling financially big time because they are not following a proven system. And it's too bad because I've been like, hey, if you just switched up this and this and this, and then they're like, no, I want a free flow. And I was that person before, and I'll talk a little bit about that maybe later. So first part that we do with our marketing, with the work that I do that I encourage, is mastering a talk and being really effing good at it, okay? Then from there, you want to make sure that whatever you offer, your main offering is something that's scalable. So what that means is something where many people can come into the offering. So right now, are you hosting in-person classes only? Tell me a little bit about your business.
Yeah, right now in person, that's it. But I haven't, I'm just kind of in the beginning stages. I've done some collaborations. I've done, and then the ecstatic dance part has been all in person.
Cool. So in person, I love in-person stuff, and I think it's nice to do that. And what you could do, of course, this would be more, need to be a little bit more strategic with the messaging, what's involved, once you know kind of the whole brand, what your brand stands for, what people are really signing up for. And it's cool that you're in the beginning stages because you can do things properly, right? Versus spending years of oh, I'm doing this the hard way. Is you can really look at how can you package what you do into something that's either ongoing online, like a community, right? Or a course that every time you're on a podcast or a stage, you're inviting people into that community. So now, instead of having let's say you do 10 sound baths or 10 events a month to make your income, right? Instead of doing that, you might have, a couple great talks that you do a month that bring in 5 to 10 people into your container that stay in your container long term. So let's say you have 5 new people join a container that are paying, let's say $49 a month. I'm just going to do some math, okay? $49. I'm going to grab my calculator. We're going to do some fun math here. Okay. So this is a low end offer, which are easier to fill. So let's say you have a container that's $49 a month. And let's say on average, okay, this is conservative, okay? I like to be conservative and then shoot for the moon, and that's where big things happen. And I actually don't really teach low-end offers because I haven't done them, but I know people that do them really well. I teach more higher-end offers, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And I'll talk a little bit about some affiliate marketing as well that could be well integrated into your business. Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. So $49 a month, let's say you have 10 people sign up. Okay. So 10 people for $49 a month is $497. Okay. Let's say that's from one or two talks that month. 2 hours of your time, you have 10 people into your container. And they continue to stay with you for the whole year. So we're going to go times 12. So that is $5,800 $888. It's something. Not a lot, but it's something. Now let's say that you have 10 new people joining your community every single month, okay? So we have 20 people the second month, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 110, 120. Again, conservative numbers. Okay, so now we're going to go 20 times 49 equals times 12 equals 11,000. So 11,600 per year. Okay, so we've got that 20. Anyways, I'm really bad at this math right now, and I think I need to take a little moment. But basically, if you were to have 10 people come in every month consistently, within the first like couple months, you're going to be making, hold on a second here. You're going to be making almost $1,000 just from a membership that you are growing and you're showing up consistently. And it's scalable. So month 2, you're making 980. And then, okay, so 49 times 30 equals, the next month you're making 1,470. The next month you're making 1,960. The next month you're making 2,450. Okay. 60 times equals. The next month you're making 2,940. Okay. And the next month you're making 3,430. I'm going to just do the math here and I'll explain why I'm doing this in a second. Times 49 equals 3,900. 4,000. And again, this is super conservative. So it's very possible that you could have 5 times what I'm going to share with you in the next year if you had a $49 offer, which is super cheap. Okay. Super, super cheap. But I actually teach higher level ones, and then we'll do some math on that. Okay. 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 Almost there. 50, 390. Okay. So in 12 months of offering a $49 membership, if that's what you wanted to do, again, just an idea, right? And you show up live a couple times a month in there, or maybe even weekly, and have other people, we're just going to do the math. 390 plus 4900 plus 3920 plus 340 plus 2450 plus. Okay. Okay. So not a lot of money, but an extra chunk. That's an extra $32,000 a year. Okay. So that's low end offer. I don't really teach that, but what if that was a $97 offer? That would be basically double the price. So that would suddenly be an extra $60,000 that you're bringing in a year just from a membership, right? Easy money online. So I'm sharing low numbers with you, but my specialty is to help people make their first 6 figures online in 12 months. Okay. So typically how I work is I help people with their talk, get on platforms like podcasts, stages, self-hosting their talk, really master that. And then from there, selling a $2,000 offer. So it can be anywhere from $997 to $2,000. Okay. Right? So once you get your talk going and you're on these platforms, right? And you have a really good masterclass, which is also your talk, but it's a self-hosted one, and you're selling, let's say, just for an example, you're selling, let's say 5 a month, 5 of those a month, 5, and we're going to be conservative, $997. Okay, 997. Oh, hold it, 995. 997 times 5. So that's 4985 per month. So that's 5 sales per month. But really, you probably have a $2,000 offer, and that would actually be $10,000 a month. So really, you only have to bring in 5 new people into a course or a program a month from speaking on stages and platforms to make $120,000 a year online. It's amazing. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is, well, Mike wanted me to teach this or come on and share. He didn't tell me exactly what to share. He's just like, come teach whatever you want to teach on, what I do. But it's easy. It's easy to get to your first $100,000 online, and it's actually less work than trying to get clients just from word of mouth and all of that. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do, and most people think it's hard, but it's easy. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and this happened for me, right? I made my first $100,000 in my first year of doing this, and the revelation for me was like, I was going around doing my events, and they were successful and everything, and I was selling tickets for, I remember when I very first started, uh, I was selling tickets for $25 per person to come to my sound baths, right? And then I started to incrementally raise my price, and then, eventually got up to $60 per person. Um, but it takes a lot of sales of tickets to
A lot.
make. That's a lot. You have to sell a lot of tickets to your events to make, pretty good money. Um, and I can show you my model of how I can make a 6-figure income from just in-person events, both public and private. But the revelation and the big light bulb that went off when I started going online with all this, offering my course and following Deidre's model, is that, when I make a sale, like for my blueprint course, my signature program, which is the Sound Healer Blueprint course, one sale is like 3 or 4 sound bath events worth of income, right? So whenever I make a sale, it's like $2,000 in my bank account, and I average, I net about $500 or $600 per sound bath event, right? So there is a power in knowing the skills of how to sell something for a higher ticket price, right? And it's a lot less work. And if it's an evergreen course, meaning it's a course that people can go through at their own pace, at their own time, along with, live mentorship, and they can reach out for coaching through, a WhatsApp chat group or Facebook community. It's a really great way to leverage time and start to create a way to be more location independent and have more time freedom.
Yeah, so well said. And for me in my wellness business, I was working like 7 days a week, basically. I was burning myself out. and I was making about $100 to $200 an hour, depending on what I was doing. Did not hit six figures, even though I was super busy. And I had I was just like, I don't feel like I'm making the kind of impact that I want to make. And so when I switched to coaching, and you don't have to be a coach in order to do this, by the way, you can be a dance teacher. I've helped sound healers. Like this is not, it doesn't, not just about one thing or another. You don't have to be a coach. It's just about really designing pieces in a way where people are like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of that piece. And I'm going to get some sort of value or transformation, or I'm going to be part of some sort of movement, which is actually pretty easy to figure out within about 5 to 15 minutes of sitting down. It's like, oh, this is the message. This is the connection. This is the story. This is the talk. And, but for me, one of the things I had to do as a woman is I had to actually look at like, shit, I've got some like programming around money blocks, around joy. And I grew up in an Italian family. So even though my mom is the person who, helped scale my dad's business and do a bunch of stuff, the men got all the credit for the woman's work. And so I had this belief system inside of me that I couldn't make X amount of money, and my ex-husband would always like talk down to me and never thought I would be successful. And so it's interesting because this last year I had my biggest financial year working part-time, and it was the easiest year I've ever had in my business. And working part-time, making multiple six figures, doing what I love, helping leaders, and really like six figures online is pretty easy. All we need to do with your business is find out what you love, find out what you care about, put it down, turn it into a course or a membership or community, and really get clear on what that is and what you're excited about. And then once you run your program to a certain point and get good feedback, then you could run it as Mike mentioned, evergreen, which just means people can sign up and take it without you even being present. I personally find like my own personal energetic way of being is I love teaching live. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't done a lot of evergreen stuff. I have my Turn Your Light On course, 8-week program. It's based on my book and the backing of my work I've been doing for a long time. That's evergreen. But for me, I love being hands-on, which is why I host masterminds and do one-to-one coaching because I love it, right? But you can go evergreen, or you can host things live, but have 10 people in a course who are paying $2,000 that you run, at like 3 or 4 times a year, or 20 people or 40 people, and it can easily turn into a six-figure or multiple six-figure business. And the reason why I started this business was because I was in a really toxic relationship, and I didn't really truly realize until I got out of it. But I'm like, I want to be a mom one day, and I want to be able to work part-time hours to make a great amount of income. And I never want to stay in a relationship for security. Like I never want to be tied to a man after that situation. I never ever want to be in that situation again. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about helping women too. It's like it's important to have your own money, your own income, but also the flexibility to be a stay-at-home mom if that's what you want to do, but also have your career. It's like have your cake, eat it too, and don't burn out. How is that feeling for you?
Yeah, it's good. It's yeah, it's interesting to like hear about this online kind of thing. I've not really explored that
Yeah.
really, but I mean, I know it's available and it's there. But yeah, like for me, I'm not quite there, but like it's given me a lot of things to think about, especially like when you talked about building the brand, and then just like that signature talk. That's something that I would like work on pretty soon, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that's something that you're looking for support with, that's one of the things I help people do is build their talks out. And the talk is important because if the talk isn't done well, it's not going to convert. So about 5 years ago. I was in my free girl era, okay? I was living out of a suitcase that was about this big. There were sparkle outfits in there, bikinis, dresses. I was just having fun, and I was traveling a lot. I was in Costa Rica for an event that I was speaking at, the Enliven Festival, or the Envision Festival. I was all over the place, and I was living in Bali. Come back to Canada to speak at an event, and I just want you to know I was already speaking on stages for years. Like I was already a speaker, right? And my business was already doing six figures, so I was already doing well. But it wasn't from my speaking that I was doing well, it was from other things I was doing in my business. And so I went on the stage and I gave an amazing talk. People were crying. People had a direct experience with God. This is what they were saying to me. And I gave it all on stage. And after the talk, I was told, like, a year or so later, that people were still raving about how transformational my talk was. I was like, amazing. But after that talk in front of 300 to 500 people, guess how many sales I made?
Oh,
Guess how many people hired me?
10.
Zero.
Oh,
Zero. But everyone had an amazing experience and was raving about me as a speaker. So that experience, that event was when I was like, wait, I don't want to just be a popular speaker that gets booked on all these stages and everyone loves. I want to grow my bank account and help more people. And that's when I started to go all in on strategy, refining, and understanding how to really master the business of speaking. Okay. So there were other peers of mine, and I say peers as in people who had been in the industry for an extra decade or two or three than I am, like people in their like 50s, 60s, etc., on that stage that had lineups of people wanting to work with them. And their talks weren't as good as mine. Like energetically, they weren't getting the same response, but people were buying. So if you are wanting to build a talk that converts, let me know. I'm happy to have a call with you and chat about what that would look like. I'll give a link for you to. It's a 30-minute call. We just chat a little bit more casually about what's going on and where you want to go and all of that. But I would recommend doing it properly from day one, because I'll give you another example. Not even a client of mine. This isn't a client of mine. It's someone in my community. She's had her business for like, I don't know, like 7 years. She hasn't hit her first six figures yet online. And do you know why? She won't learn certain things. She thinks that she knows everything. And I had a call with this woman the other day, and I'm like, hey, how's business going? Oh, great, great, great. I'm like, oh, amazing. Like, what are you working on? Like, da 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 da. And then somehow money came up. I don't know how. I think I was sharing something about something I was working on, or I don't remember. And she still hasn't hit six figures in her business. And it's because she hasn't like applied these strategies. She's been in business just as long as I have been in the coaching space, hasn't hit six figures. And me this last year, I took 3 months off because I moved to the other side of the country, and I crossed the $500,000 mark working part-time. And literally the reason how I did that is my talk. My talk is one of those top reasons how I got to that level, and also the strategy. It's not from exposure. And this is where a lot of amateurs get it wrong. So I just want to say, like, if you want to do this properly, please have a conversation with me, because whatever you invest in learning it and doing it properly is you're going to make the money back times 100 plus, plus, plus. But when I had that conversation with this woman, I was shocked. I was like, wow, she still hasn't hit that mark. And it's because there's certain things that she doesn't want to get support with. And it's like, we have to learn the systems. And I'm an intuitive person, awakening her. I'm super spiritually connected, very like intuitively led. But one of the biggest things I've shifted in my business over the last year or 2 years, last year or two, is I lean more into strategy than intuition. And you know what it's done? It's grown my business. It's created more space and time and energy and it's made everything better. And doesn't mean that my intuition isn't right. I actually teach intuition, but in business, strategy actually really matters. And it's what's going to prevent you from making things hard. So just want to put that invitation out there that if you are looking to do that, I can definitely help you with that. Yeah.
What do you mean you teach intuition?
I teach intuition. I woke up to my spiritual gifts when I was 20. I studied with my very first shaman at 21, which is like over 14 years ago. And I'm very spiritually connected. I can see, hear, feel. I can see disease in people's bodies. People who passed away talk to me. I'm very connected to the divine. Yeah, it's one of my gifts. And that's how I'm really good in business development for people, because I know what's actually in the way and where people actually need to be versus where they're operating from. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced that. You've called me out on a few things in a great way, where I needed to make shifts, and yeah, you were right about quite a few things. And yeah, so um, man, so good to see you, Deidre,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so glad you're doing so well.
Yeah.
And I really feel like you and Nabila here um, have some similar stories or similar,
Yeah.
in occurrences going on or you've had a similar occurrence that maybe Nabila is experiencing now that maybe you can connect on and touch in on, and maybe provide some guidance there. So
Mm.
yeah, I would recommend having just like a conversation outside of this call at some point and just connecting that way. Um, but yeah, this next layer of your business, we don't know what that's going to look like for you. And for anyone listening to this recording, like maybe you don't know what your offering is going to look like yet, but
Mhm.
everyone has something that they can help others with. Like
Mhm.
whether it's something that you've struggled with in the past that you've overcome, and now you have a solution, and now you can help people figure out that solution for themselves. And you can create and package a course around that, and that can become what you um, offer out into the world and have that ripple effect. And,
Mhm.
as long as you follow those strategies, like Deidre talks about, like having the lead magnets and the signature talks and the ways that you attract people towards you and magnetize people towards you to work with you, then you can make a lot of impact and a lot of income in your business.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. Like, I just want to, is it okay? I have a one more thing I want to share on before we wrap. Is that cool?
100%. Yeah.
So, what I want to share, this is something that I was actually just looking at the other day and I was like, oh, this is so true. I find the most impact or the biggest results I've got, not just in business, like I love business, like this is fun for me. I get to do what I love, right? So I'm not thinking of like, oh, I'm working hard. I'm like, oh, I get to hang out with cool people, be myself, and share my gifts and, help them share their gifts. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, I'm still working. I'm like, oh, cool, I'm working. Like gives me energy. But one of the things that I found at all stages, like leaving that abusive relationship, starting a new business, having no idea what I was doing, all the stages I've gone through, writing my first book, getting on my first stage, getting my TEDx, like all these things, right? There was a certain level of courage that I needed to have, that I need to take big action. And so, one thing that I want to leave you with, but I do have another teaching point before we wrap too, is that I find God, the universe, whatever you believe in, energetics, respond to courage and massive action. They don't really respond to playing it safe. So, anytime in my life or business, I'm like trying to manage or play safe or play it cool, it never really turns into anything. It's just a time waster and a distraction. So if you're looking to take the speedboat approach to achieving your dreams and financially, business, impact, exposure, that's what I help people do is the speedboat approach versus the paddle boat or what do we call it? The weighted boat, where you're like, I'm not getting anywhere. Because what happens as humans, we have these upper limits that as soon as we get close to, going beyond them, we go back into our shell and we hide and we distract ourselves. So it's really important to ask yourself, what is the courageous thing I could do? What is the big, bold move I need to take? And then just bet on yourself fully, because when you bet on yourself fully, you're always greatly rewarded. That's what I found in my journey. And just in general, it's almost like a universal rule. I'm like, oh, that person was courageous. And like there was a gift on the other side. And then the last thing that I promised that I would talk on, that I haven't touched on yet, is also affiliate marketing. Okay, so this is actually a really profitable thing. Will it get you to six figures? Potentially, but it's not necessarily what I teach. It's something that can add, extra layers to your income. And that is finding products and services that you love and that already align with your audience and your brand, and you share them with your audience regularly. So, for example, Mike is an affiliate for Mindful Meds, and I'm an investor in Mindful Meds, and I am obsessed with Mindful Meds. Okay, I'm obsessed. Okay, I took their products years ago, and then I was like, I need to be a part of it. And affiliate marketing, you can make good money on it, and you can make some money off of it, and sometimes you just get free product. It's always a win, right? If it's a product you already love and you share it with people and people buy and you get free product, it's a win. You're saving $50 to $100 a month. Winning, right? So as an entrepreneur and as someone who's like, hey, how can I create the most of the life that I want? One thing that I would ask you is like, and maybe this is some of your homework of things that you can do. What are some of the brands that I love that I'm already sending people to, that I've had an amazing experience with? And look and see if there's an affiliate opportunity. And if there is, you can have a one pager on your website or on Linktree, which is essentially that app that you purchase for the link in your bio on Instagram, where you have products and services and people you love. I have people that are affiliates for me, and what I do, they're like, oh my gosh, Dee, I've got such amazing results from working with you. How can I endorse your Turn Your Light On program? How can I endorse, Sacred Selling, your sales program? How can I be a part of it? I'm like, oh, well, if you send any of this to me, I'll give you this free product or whatever. So it's like there's going to be clothing brands. There's going to be maybe essential oil companies that you love. There's going to be potentially wellness companies that you love. Like, I mean, I'm just drinking coffee here, so, but there might be like a mushroom blend that you love and drink every day, and you're like, oh, they have an affiliate program. Maybe I can like share that on my social or to my community, once a month. And some people sign up, I get free product. Like, I want you to start thinking outside of the box of I work, I pay my bills, and I buy things. No, I create, I do what I love, I attract people in, I share what I love, and everything is turning into abundance. And that's a really powerful way to think about creating a financially free reality is who are people that I've learned from. Like Mike probably has an affiliate program,
Yep.
you might send people to his program, his signature program, and he might, give you a bonus or something. I'm not sure. He can talk more about that, but
I offer 50% commission, a referral fee for the Sound Healer Blueprint course, and a 10% commission for the Mastermind program.
yeah,
And another cool thing about something like Mindful Meds or products that people can order, like they order things on a subscription basis, is you get a recurring referral fee every month if someone gets a subscription to their product and they get shipments of their products sent to them. So every month now that I've been doing like with Mindful Meds, every month I get these little like deposits into my bank account, and it's I'm getting up close to $1,000 a month recurring because people are on all these
Good for
subscriptions.
you, Mike. That's really great commissions with Mindful Mints.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? So these are ways that you can make a lot of money or a lot of extra money. And then there's also, if you're in sound healing, there's companies like Meinl Sonic Energy or Gongs Unlimited and those kinds of companies where you can have an affiliate link with their products. And, those are products that are, they have quite a high price tag. So if you're making 10% on, a $3,000 uh, gong and someone buys it through your affiliate link, then, that's a nice little extra bonus, right? So there's all kinds of ways that you can dive into the world of affiliate marketing and have
Mm.
strategies around that to sustain it in your business.
Yeah, I love it. So affiliate marketing is essentially it's having a product or a service provider that you love, having a link that you can send to people that it's a good fit for. Maybe it's you're sharing something online once a month with some of your favorite products or people. There's a link in your bio. You share it with people and yeah, maybe you make an extra $100 a month, maybe an extra $1,000 a month. There are certain people that I've done affiliate marketing with. It's more joint venture. Joint venture is a little bit different. I won't dive too much into it just because we're almost at time in the next 10 minutes. But I've made some of my joint venture partners like $10,000 from an hour of collaborating with them. So what I like to teach in my academy in Awakening Her specifically is how to collaborate with people, but also make money through collaboration. Because there's collaboration like, hey, let's do a workshop together. And then there's like, hey, let me have you on my platform and sales that you make from that platform. If you're selling something, there could be a commission there. Or how can we have sponsorships for things? Or like there's so many different types of collaborations, and some of them are good for visibility, some of them are good for profits, some of them are just fun, right? So there's visibility collaborations, there's ones that are fun that feel good, and then there's ones where you're like, oh, I just made $10,000 from a person I did a collaboration from, and they made money too. So these are some of the things that I teach that I find really powerful, but also the inner work is just as important. Like, the self worth. It's like when I got out of that relationship and all of those things, like I felt worthless. I was like, I'm stupid. I got nothing going for me. I never thought I'd like meet a person again. Like I literally felt totally wrecked. And I had a lot of work to do. And I did that work, and my external reality shifted actually very quickly because I took courageous moves. I got the right support. I chose to dive into an industry I actually knew nothing about. And it was just based on my intuitive pull, right? And so many things opened up. So I hope that today's conversation has been helpful. I guess as we wrap, as far as like key takeaways, I want you to know that your business, even if you're just starting out, could easily be created online in the next year and generate probably six figures, okay? With a little bit of market research, definitely some strategy and some support. That's not a big dream. It's definitely a reality that you can create. I've done it. My first year of coaching in my new business, I did it. I've helped countless people do that. I've helped people make $100,000 in the first 3 months and up to $1 million within a year of working with me. So all of this is available, and it's just strategy, the right support, and focusing on really developing one core offer. You can still do things in person, but building an online program and offering is one of the fastest ways to create more time and location freedom. And when Mike came to me, he was already doing amazing, but he's like, I want to have time and location freedom. And I just moved across the country because my partner lived across the country and I was living in Vancouver. And I've lived in all these different places around the world. And the only reason I was able to move here or do any of that was because my business was all online. And that's a really cool place to be. So, we talked about visibility versus profits. We talked about your talk. We talked about membership options, regular pricing for courses that are $997 to $2,000. And then there's beyond. We talked a little bit about affiliate marketing and also just really the umbrella of building a brand, and people are going to want to work with you because they're a part of something that's beyond what you're actually doing, and that's how you create a really powerful brand. So I'll drop a link below if you want to book a call with me. I'm sure Mike will share it as well.
So how do
But do you have any questions? Oh,
people
go ahead.
that can't, this is a recorded
Mhm,
um, recorded video. So
mhm.
people that are watching this later, how can people find you and like get a hold of you? Like where would you want people to seek you out? Do you have a website,
Yeah, so
Instagram?
my website is radicallyaligned.com. Radicallyaligned.com, and then Mike, I'll share a link for you to add into the notes of wherever this is posted, whether it's on YouTube or the back end of your program. If people want to book in a 30-minute call with me to see if there's an offering that I have that's aligned. I do work with men and women, but underneath the Awakening Her brand, it's women. So I do work with men privately. And I'm on Instagram, and it's just I am Deidre Suriani, the spelling of my name. And yeah, I'd love to connect and learn a little bit more about what everyone's up to and how I can support. And I just wanted to open it up, Mike. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, or any questions before we complete?
Yeah, I just want to say about, uh, in-person events, your in-person offerings that you're going to be doing, in also having an online side of your business is an amazing cross-pollination, right? Because when you're doing these things in person, it's a networking opportunity as well as, whatever it is you're offering, a sound bath event, ecstatic dance, breath work event, whatever that you're doing in person, you're meeting a lot of people, thousands of people you're going to be in front of. People, thousands of people are going to start to know who you are, and therefore you have this networking opportunity that's outstanding for funneling people into what you're doing online as well,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a great marriage of the two worlds of in person and online, and that's what I wanted to get students in SoundQuest Academy excited about, is going beyond just being an in-person event curator to someone who offers something online that helps a lot of people, and you can go beyond the region where you live, and that's where you can really start to scale things up because you're kind of limited in terms of your ability to physically be in the area where you live, like the region, the city where you live. And when you go online, you can reach millions of people all over the world, depending on what you're offering. So,
Mhm.
Deidre is a great resource for how to get you from where you are to where you want to be. She's been an outstanding mentor of mine and a good friend, and just a cool person. So I hope that this video helped you, and I hope that you connect with Deidre on some level.
Yeah, Mike, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And again, I love that you have decided to infuse this into your mastermind because I think this is like an expander, right? It's like you're teaching what you teach, and then there's another expansion of that. So I just want to say kudos to you for doing that. And so good to meet you, Nabila. Like, let me know if
Meet
you have
you.
any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just processing. I think I'll definitely, I'll reach out and probably have more questions at that point. But yeah, thank you for your time and sharing your story and yeah, all this knowledge that I'm now digesting.
Beautiful. Okay, thanks so much for having me.
Thank
Amazing
you.
work, Mike. Looking forward to hearing from you and sending you